Hi, this is Professor Bill. This slideshow is basically, or video, is just basically an overview of how to handle the Accounting 211 online class. This is the same slideshow that is in your Start Here section without commentary from me, but sometimes I think just talking through a video adds a dimension. Here's the school's purpose for the class. This class introduces accounting principles with respect to financial reporting. It demonstrates how decision makers use accounting information for reporting purposes. It focuses on the preparation of accounting information and its uses or use in the operation of organizations, as well as methods of analysis and interpretation of accounting information. This is a Virginia Community College system-wide definition, and we have to follow it. Because it's an online class, I encourage you to begin at the Start Here tab. This takes you to all the introductory materials in the class. Then review the course information, such as the syllabus, the course schedule, and the grading policy. As always, ask if you have questions. Here's the basic structure of the class. There are 5 types of assessments. There's a midterm and a final, each of them worth 2,750 points. This is 5,500 points out of a 10,000 point total. That means I've pre-weighted it at 55% of your grade, but now you don't have to calculate how much one test compares to one homework assignment. I'm awarding points based on what I think the worth of each is. There's one Connect homework activity per chapter. And in your class, this homework activity is a tutorial called LearnSmart. These are each worth 110 points. So individually, they're not worth a lot, but they add up to 1,300 or 13% of your grade. Then I have something called the Connect project activity. And these are worth 200 points apiece. Since there are 12, they total up to be 2,400 or 24% of your grade. There's a blog, especially in an online class. The blog to me is something like course participation. Here, I'll ask you a question on the blog, and the blogs appear at the bottom of each unit requirement. You are just expected to answer the question. You can either use a thread right in Blackboard, or you can do a Word document and then attach it in the Blackboard. So either way is okay with me. Basically, since this is participation, even if you're wrong, I give you full credit, and then I just tell you why you're wrong. Of course, the one way that I wouldn't give full credit would be if I ask you 3 questions and you only answer 1. In that case, I'd only give you a third of the credit. But I don't mind you answering all questions wrong. There are 2 introductory activities that you really should begin on right now. One is just a discussion board introduction where you introduce yourself to your classmates. And you might have seen that I suggest, because it's sort of good conversational practice, that you respond to other people. But there's really no penalty for failing to do that or reward for doing it. The basic reward comes from doing your own introduction. Also, you need to look at the syllabus and make sure you understand it. Now, I'm not asking you to commit to the syllabus and sign it if you don't understand it. Instead, I'm saying it's worth 100 points to you, and it's worth a lot to me that you make sure you understand it and ask questions if you don't. So I would encourage you to wait till you understand. When you understand, sign it. But because it's an online class, rather than sign, I have a discussion board on the discussion board page, where you can merely write me a comment that says something like, I understand the syllabus. And that's worth 100 points again. All right, a little bit more about each type of assignment. First, the exams. As I told you, each of these are worth 27.5 points of your 27.5% of your grade. The midterm covers chapters 1 through 6. The final covers chapters 7 through 12. The final's not cumulative, so each test just covers 6 chapters. Each of them has 20 multiple choice questions worth 70 points each, and 4 problems worth 340 points each. These are in a Blackboard test setting, so the multiple choice you answer right on the Blackboard site. You have 4 answers and you pick one. The 4 short answer type questions or problem type questions, you're basically given a blank section on your Blackboard test to complete these. So I'm not going to be looking so much for form and whether I can read them easily. I do need to be able to read them. But basically, for example, I might give you journal entries, and you're really not going to have a journal entry form to use. You're just going to do this free form. These need to be authenticated. And to me, that's slightly different than proctoring, but proctoring can be used to authenticate. So these tests are open book, open notes, open resources. I'm not proctoring to make sure you don't use those things, but we do want to make sure that the person who's getting the grade for the class is the person who's doing the work. I'll tell you that as a CPA, some of the hardest things I've ever done have been open book, open notes, including projects for accounting work that I've done. So please don't look at this as dumbing the class down. It's just merely it gets harder and harder in an online setting to control keeping your book closed and not using materials, and I don't really see the worth. There are 3 ways to be authenticated, by the way, and the Blackboard site talks about this. You're welcome to go to a testing center if you live in the TCC region, but you're not required to go to one. You could also take one of 2 scheduled Blackboard Collaborate Ultra sessions with me. Here we both get on a webcam. Other students may get on at the same time. And as long as you have your webcam and I can see you, you have 2 screens going. On one, I see you. On the other one, you go ahead and you take the test in Blackboard. The third way is, again, if I'm watching you, I can't be there 24/7, so you can't call me at 2 o'clock in the morning and say I'm ready to start my test. Instead, you'll find for each midterm and final, I have 2 sessions you can choose from where you and I can meet in the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra site, and it's free. But if these aren't convenient to you, and you don't want to come to a testing center or you live outside the area, then you can also choose the Remote Proctor Now option. And this is a 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week option during the entire testing period for you to test at your convenience. That service costs you about $25 if you choose it. And here's the long wording about that. Again, I'm not going to repeat myself. But you could, for example, pause on the screen as you're watching the video and get a better feel for authentication. The Connect homework is LearnSmart tutorial assignments on Blackboard. One thing worth commenting on here is punctuation is very important in these. So for example, if you have a minus sign and the answer should be plus, but you have the right number, it's going to say wrong, and it's not really going to give you an indication of why. Same thing, if it's vice versa and you should have had a minus sign, but you don't. I already commented on the blogs. Don't have anything really to add. Again, they're just like class participation. Each chapter I have something called Financial Accounting Project. These are worth 2,400 points in total, or 24% of your grade. This is longer serial homework usually. Normally in a project you'll have both a serial type problem that carries on from one chapter to the next and introduces the new concepts, and also there'll usually be an exercise thrown in from the chapter that you're working on. Again, for both types of homework, the LearnSmart homework and this financial accounting project, you need to have McGraw-Hill's Connect, which means you are going to need to get a Connect access code. I talked with you already about the introductory activities, so here they are, but I don't really feel the need to repeat myself here. However you do it, you're expected to read every chapter. Sometimes students will say, you know, my LearnSmart took me 6 hours or 4 hours, but it only took my friend an hour. What happened? Well, in this electronic age, I find many students not enjoying reading the way people once did. That's fine. But if rather than read, you're going to do LearnSmart to learn, you know, you're not going to read first and then apply what you read, but instead you're just going to learn through LearnSmart, don't be surprised if it takes you longer. If basically the time you would have spent reading, now you're spending working on the LearnSmart. I have a number of multimedia things in each chapter. Sometimes I'll have videos like this one. Other times I'll have PowerPoints and that kind of thing. Here's a way to get a hold of me. If you have questions, you can always write on our Quiet Side of the Asteroid forum. That's my general forum. You can write specific questions on each weekly or unit type discussion board. For example, if you have a problem in chapter 1 and it's a problem with a point made there, you can put that right in the chapter 1 discussion board. If on the other hand you're wondering what the first date is that you're going to be able to take a test, that's something you'd put on Quiet Side of the Asteroid. If you wonder why I'm slow grading, that's something why you'd put on Quiet Side of the Asteroid, although I don't think you'll find me grading slow too much. You see how you can email me at wconnor@tcc.edu, or you can call me at either of these phone numbers. And the cell phone number, you're also free to text. I respond as quickly as possible to those. Have fun. I hope you enjoy the class.